Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so kind of want to start doing something, or at least reminding myself to do something. Since I play so much fantasy basketball, I get a chance to see who all these guys are that are playing really, really well in real time, like actually like yesterday and today and tomorrow. I want to start keeping a tally of these guys and start telling you guys who these people are, so we can start getting in the rhythm of knowing how quickly the NBA changes from who's playing well and who's not. Because we always talk about the value of players and how we can find discount players. This is how you do it. You want to pay attention to this kind of stuff. Now, there's a guy by the name of Jock Landale in Phoenix, who's playing the center position, a stretch five, I believe he is. He's starting to do some real work, picking up his game and starting to be fantasy relevant. So we're keeping an eye on Jock Landale in Phoenix. Another guy by the name of Dennis Smith Jr. Super excited about DSJ finally getting an opportunity to play with LaMelo Ball's injury and other issues around the team. Obviously, we said that the Hornets were going to have a showcase for different players who will make a name for themselves. Dennis Smith Jr. is taking one of those roster spots and doing great things with it with the time that he's had. It's always been talent there, development needed, and then injury issues. But the natural talent has always been there. He's a triple-double threat, just naturally, who he's always been. Yes, he was a high fly act, but that wasn't necessarily what all he could do to the game. He could still play the game on the floor. So now that he's back in shape again, and what I really, really am excited about in regards to Dennis Smith Jr. is the fact that he said he was trying to train to be in the NFL this offseason because he didn't think he was going to be back into the NBA. So he was training differently to take on different types of contact. So I'm listening to that. I'm like, what? You telling me Dennis Smith Jr. was NFL training? Oh, this is big. So you talk about the type of conditioning that he's probably in and the type of habits that he's picked up in this offseason. If he keeps that up and keeps training as if he's trying to be in the NFL, that's going to work in his favor in the NBA. In fact, I think NBA players should look to be stronger just in general, especially if they're not tall players going forward. You want to be kind of like a running back, believe it or not, going into the NBA that I think we're heading into. And I'm dead serious. So, yeah, you definitely like where this is headed in terms of Dennis Smith Jr.'s career going forward. If cross your fingers for good health, I don't think there's anything keeping him from getting better from here. So you're seeing the breakout, and I think it's real. So Anthony Simons, we mentioned him yesterday as well. He's a must-add on all fantasy teams. Pretty much, he needs to be a part of things right now. He's just shooting too well, and I don't think he's going to slow down. This is who he is. He's been developing for a long time, and the stats are real. That's why they paid him so much. Another guy that I'm looking at is another Charlotte Hornet, Jalen McDaniels. That is somebody who's starting to pop off across all categories. Basically, he's showing you there's real production within his play when he's getting real minutes, which don't necessarily have to disappear for him because he's a part of that Charlotte Hornets team. And with Bridges out and, of course, Melo missing a lot of time, playing a different position, there's availability there for someone to shine. So he's the one that seems to be snatching it at the power forward spot, small forward spot, not really sure, but he's in that forward spot as a wing, and he's starting to show what he can do on the offensive end. So that's definitely somebody who's popping off this week, and I don't think he's going to slow down at all. That role is going to stay right there, and it's going to be fun to see him do it. So that's what I want to say. Jalen McDaniels, and of course his brother Jaden McDaniels in Minnesota as well, who's pretty much a similar player and who also has a heck of a role over there in Minnesota. They both have fantasy value right now. Another guy, ironically enough, was a part of the team with his brother in Minnesota, who's now in Utah, Jared Vanderbilt. That is also somebody you want to pay very close attention to, who's starting to pop off. And we're not surprised by that, though. This dude has always been super talented, very good defensively, excellent on the boards. And so, yeah, you think about the McDaniels guys and Vanderbilt as well. They're all very good players to have right now. Trey Jones, San Antonio Spurs, two-way point guard. This guy is doing a lot of things, passing the ball, shooting the ball, and stealing the ball. So when you consider he's getting steals on a regular basis, he is thieving the ball. He's almost playing like Fred VanVleet, honestly, and he looks like he could develop into something like that from afar from where I'm at. We know his brother, Trey Jones, his brother is, what's his brother's name? Something Jones. He's in Memphis. I don't know where my mind is going. But his brother is also in Memphis playing well, who's also has a lot of upside, high level. Could use some people to move out the way so he can have a little more fantasy value. Obviously, he's playing behind Ja over there. But Trey in San Antonio doesn't have any concerns at all in terms of minutes. It's just him and Josh Primo, and they're both young fellas trying to find their way in the league. So that point guard position is wide open for them, and you're seeing San Antonio Spurs pop off all over the place as well. Trey Jones is somebody you definitely like to have right now on your fantasy team. Another guy, San Antonio Spurs, even though he is dealing with some type of short-term injury that kept him out of the game yesterday, Devin Vassell. Oh boy, you want to pick Devin Vassell up. He shouldn't be on waiver wires anymore. Yeah, he's playing like an all-star. Both ends of the floor, just like Trey Jones. Shooting the ball is something that he profiles to do with ease. But he also contributes in other areas, getting boards, some assists here and there. It's starting to get his game going in other areas on a very consistent day-to-day level. And Popovich is taking the gloves off of him, and we're seeing what he can do. So at this point in time, I'm super excited about Devin Vassell. I think the upside may be all-star. And if he keeps this up at this pace, he's going to be one of the most improved players in the NBA, truthfully. Another guy, even though he shouldn't be on waiver wires as well, part of that San Antonio mix is Keldon Johnson. Started the season off extremely hot, shooting the ball like a madman and rebounding the ball as he's profiled to do as well. So Keldon Johnson shouldn't even be on the waiver wire, but you definitely want to be aware of him in San Antonio. Another guy that we're really, really excited about seeing play super well is Jordan Clarkson. Obviously our very own here in LA. JC's playing basically like an all-star. Utah, as we know, like some of these other teams, have these roster spots available, Charlotte of course, that can showcase players that haven't had opportunities. So when you look at what's going on in Utah, you'll see a couple players that fit this bill, and JC is taking a great advantage of that as well as Vanderbilt. He's just basically putting up numbers that are beyond what we've seen in other categories. We know JC can score, and we know that occasionally he'll rebound, occasionally he'll get up some assists. But now he's starting to really put it together, like actually put it together. You're getting like 20 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and he's getting a steal here and there, and the efficiency's up. So I think if, knock on wood, if he keeps this up at this pace, he's going to make an all-star team this season. And I know it's a long shot. A lot of people are looking and saying, well, there's a lot of guys he's going to have to fight with. But at the clip he's playing at right now, he's in that mix. He's in that mix, and the Utah Jazz have been winning. So you definitely got to pay attention to him and a bunch of his other teammates as well, including Lauri Markkanen, who I think if he keeps this up, he could be an all-star. Can you imagine the Utah Jazz having 2 all-stars? I cannot. But the way that these guys are playing, they have to be considered if they keep this up at this clip, both of them. So I'm looking at Lauri Markkanen as somebody who's pretty dang serious right now and shouldn't be on any waiver wires as well. So, yeah, those are a couple players that came to mind just immediately. I wanted to let you guys know about the Jones boys and everybody in Charlotte. There's another guy in Charlotte, Richards. I didn't want to let y'all go without letting you know about Nick Richards. I had never heard of Nick Richards before this week. I'll be honest with you, he's been stuck in the back of the bench in Charlotte, but they gave him some minutes at the center position, and he pretty much showed everybody he's ready to break out. So Nick Richards, definitely want to know who that is. Definitely looking forward to seeing what he can do. So when you start thinking about the Charlotte Hornets now, you start thinking about some of these teams, understand that they got players that are starting to show you that you can make a trade with their team, snatch some of those players, and get immediate help. This is not an empty situation if you are doing a deal with the Charlotte Hornets, because you can snatch up 2 or 3 of those guys on top of Gordon Hayward's contract, and suddenly your trade is good. That's what I'm here to say. There are guys. The Indiana Pacers, of course, have a few of them. You definitely want to pick up Smith. We talk about Jalen Smith a lot on this channel, Sticks. He's somebody who's breaking out, had a couple double-doubles in a row. Definitely want to keep an eye on him. Who else is over there? Of course, Chris Duarte is a player who has a good efficiency level to his game. I like that he and Tyrese Halliburton should be able to play off each other with very high IQ. That's what I look at in regards to that team. And of course, Mathurin. If you don't have Mathurin on your team, if he's still on the waiver wire, do yourself a favor and get him off of it right now. You should probably even stop the video and get Mathurin off. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire. And so that's I'm serious. Get him off of that waiver wire. Grab him and Trey Murphy. Both of those guys need to not. Those are my 2 favorite pickups right now. And now look at a guy like Bol Bol, who I also picked up in a lot of leagues. In fact, I'm kind of jumping ahead of people and valuing him a bit more than I should, I think. And I picked him up a little more than maybe it's advised to right now. But that's just because I look at him and say, there are two things I can count on him to do: block shots and hit jumpers. And because he's such a fantastic floor runner, and because he can dribble and do things like a guard, those are two things that keep him on the floor. You're going to have a hard time taking him off of it. And when you consider what else he can do in regards to size and how he's interchangeable with the other pieces on that team, it's a no-brainer. You definitely want to keep an eye on him. Also, speaking of the Orlando Magic, R.J. Hampton. That's a guy whose name I've been mentioning a lot of the time. A guard who's had some injury issues here and there, but when he was initially drafted, had a lot of talent and had some upside that you could use. He's starting to show what he can do with some time, and I'm excited about him as well. So R.J. Hampton of the Orlando Magic, he's in the mix with what they have there. And because some players have been missing at that guard spot, he's been able to do some good things with his minutes. So yeah, keep an eye on everybody on the Orlando Magic. I have told everybody before Paolo Banchero played his very first game that he was one of the best pure scorers in all of basketball. And he's starting his career breaking records scoring the basketball. I wasn't playing dead serious. That dude's one of the best scorers to ever play the game right now at 19 years old. And the reason why is because of how just polished his overall game is and how incredibly strong and big and punishing he is. He's going to deal out punishment. He's going to continue to put up more and more numbers like that, and they're going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. What I mean by that is he's scoring 20 right now. Later, that's going to be like 35. 35, 30. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. It's another level of Blake Griffin. It's a much better version of Blake Griffin. That's what I'm telling you. And he's going to power through the league with ease because he's, like LeBron James, has full control of his body and just can score at will. So as we continue to see him incorporate other aspects of his game, like passing and shooting and other defensive intangibles, all-star teams are going to be made with ease with Paolo Banchero. P5 is the real deal. He's probably going to be an MVP one day. So, yeah, I'm telling y'all right now, you ain't going to find him on the waiver wire, but you may see him on your all-star team this year. Because if he keeps this up, he's an all-star, for real. So that's something I'm telling you right now. That's a talented Orlando Magic team, and he's the best player on it. No cap. So that's what it is, man. Who else? It's plenty. I'm telling you, it's plenty of players that are popping off all over the league right now that you want to keep an eye on. None of them play for the Lakers, unfortunately, as you know. Tre Mann. Let's make sure we put some respect on Tre Mann's name out there in Oklahoma City. I already know that's a star. I already know that. I saw that in glimpses of what he was able to do with the team in the first 2 years of his career. I think he was a rookie 2 years ago. I think that's how that went. But he could pop off the screen easily. As soon as you see him play, he's shaking people up. He's dribbling, he's shooting, all kinds of stuff. That's just a star. That's a gamer who, if he continues to just work the development and is given more trust, is going to be a starter in this league for forever. Like, that's a real player. It's just a matter of him developing and then getting either incorporated into the mix with the Oklahoma City Thunder or to another situation where they can feature him a bit more. I don't know what they're going to do, but he's a real deal. It's just going to take some time for him to start showing people how high his level goes. But you're starting to see, even now, he's fantasy relevant. So as long as guys are missing out of the lineup, it's specifically Josh Giddey, is which why he's able to get all these minutes, then he's going to continue to be somebody to have in your fantasy lineup. And definitely somebody to target in trade if for some reason you are trying to get some young guards or something like that. Because I look at OKC, man, I'm telling you, they got nothing but lottery picks. I mean, they cannot pay everyone. So there are going to be certain pieces on their team that you will be able to get from them in trade. Because at some point in time, they're just going to have to relinquish the fact that they can't keep everybody. So OKC is a very interesting team in that way. And their whole team is full of these young guys. Some of them ain't quite getting those minutes yet, but like, if they were to get in situations, you have to look at that entire roster and apply it to this video. They all have fantasy value if they get the minutes. So you like Ousmane Dieng, the minutes aren't quite there yet, but once he starts getting them, he's gonna go crazy. Jalen Williams, he's hurt right now, the Jalen with the E, but if he gets the minutes, he's gonna be a triple-double threat one day, all-star. I see that coming. 6 years from now, that's an all-star. You know what I'm saying? You look at, obviously, Chet, even though he's not on the floor right now. We know he's going to be that guy later. That's obvious. Poku, somebody you can trust a little bit. Although I look at him and I say he's going to have to learn how to play more so with the modern guys around him. But that's somebody you can know can do a lot of things and pile up a lot of stats if given a lot of minutes. So it goes on and on and on and on and on. And I'm very, very happy that I've started this process to let you guys know about a few guys that are really playing well in this league. I think about a few others I would love to, if they would just come to mind. But that's pretty much what I got. Oh, Saldana, that's a good one. Zaldana, I don't remember what his first name is, but he is a power forward who's filling in for Josh Jackson in Memphis, and he is shooting the lights out. This dude is a real player, man. You could clearly see where he's rebounding and shooting ability and scoring. It's everywhere. You can definitely put him in most situations and get that very same production from him, I believe. So I think that's a piece where it's like, yo, you need a high level talent that's probably not going to be able to keep the role that he has right now, but would love to. That's the guy. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. Rob Pelinka, go get him. Talk to the Memphis Grizzlies about Saldana. It's a piece we need in our uniform right now, literally. So these are the type of things that I'm thinking about. Like if we can start, obviously in a pie in the sky world, for me, I want us to get Bol Bol. I want us to get Troy Murphy. Like these are the players that I've had on my list of players I've wanted for years. They just so happen to be popping at the same time. Stewart, like if you follow me, I've been telling you about these dudes forever. It's just like, it's their time now, man. So I'm very excited about these young players. And I just further trust myself. You know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes didn't have high stock. Some of these dudes wasn't drafted the way that I knew they was going to turn into. And here they are. Here they are. And there's going to be more. So we got to stay current, people. That's what I'm saying. There's no reason to keep your players that can't play no more. Guys that can't run around. Forget all that. Get current, grab your little fantasy team, and find out exactly who's playing well from week to week to week, and snatch these dudes when you know their value isn't what it should be. A guy like Mo Bamba needs to be picked up right now. If anybody's paying attention, Orlando's not able to use him, he's not getting any minutes. But his contract's kind of like someone who's been paid. But if you give him the minutes, he's going to live up to the contract. It's just Orlando can't do it because they found Bol Bol and a bunch of other stuff that's really working for them. Same goes for Gary Payton II. Somebody needs to go snatch him out of Portland. There's no reason for him to be there. We know what he can do. They just don't have the playing time for it. Get him out of there. So, like, these are the type of things I'm like, yo, if your GM is sitting on his hands and he ain't paying attention to the stuff that I'm looking at right now, he needs to be fired. Straight up. That's what I'm going to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.